Hello everyone, welcome to Barca News. It is June 28th, 2025, and Ansu Fati has completed his medical exam as he prepares to join Monaco. Also, a new club has joined the race for Iñaki Peña. And finally, Barcelona are set to complete the signing of Roony Bardghji by next week. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo. I'll begin this video with the news that Barcelona have reached a full agreement for the transfer of Pablo Torre. Now, as I reported previously, Pablo Torre got convinced by Mallorca's project. In fact, Mallorca's coach has already talked to Pablo Torre, convinced him that it is the best project for him, where he has been, guaranteed first team minutes, and he has been told that he will be an important player for them. And as such, out of all the offers that Pablo Torre had, he has chosen to join Mallorca, and Barcelona have reached a full agreement for the transfer of Pablo Torre, where Mallorca are going to pay 5 million euros for Pablo Torre, and Barcelona will still retain 50% of any future sales, and they're also going to retain a buyback clause worth around 10 to 12 million euros. So Barcelona will get 5 million for Pablo Torre, and if he ends up, reaching his full potential, they can sign him for 10 to 12, and again, 50% of his future sales. Not a bad idea. I think we've seen how Barcelona have profited a lot from these kind of deals, because even if Barcelona does not end up repurchasing Pablo Torre and he ends up reaching his full potential, Mallorca could always sell him, and Barcelona could make even more money down the road, aside from the 5 million that they're about to make. Now, speaking of players joining other clubs, Ansu Fati has officially underwent medical exams, and he has passed those medical exams. So that's it. Ansu Fati will become a Monaco player. Now, Ansu Fati traveled to Monaco during this week, where he underwent the medical exams. He passed those medical exams, and the announcement, or the official announcement, that he has joined Monaco is expected this upcoming week. Now, Barcelona have agreed for the transfer of Ansu Fati on a one-season loan with an option to buy for 11 million euros. So if it ends up working out and Monaco decides to keep him, they would have to pay 11 million euros, and it would keep Ansu Fati. Also, Barcelona have retained a buyback clause worth 28 million euros. In other words, he ends up killing it, Monaco signs him. He continues to kill it, Barcelona decided to want to resign him. It would cost them 28 million euros. And finally, and this is the big one, but Monaco have agreed to split the salary of Ansu Fati 50-50, so half and half. And this is huge because, as you might recall from my previous videos, this was kind of like the sticking point in the negotiations, where Monaco were only willing to pay 30% of Ansu Fati's salary. And of course, that didn't work for Barcelona, because the whole point of offloading Ansu Fati was to remove his huge salary of Barcelona's books so they can register someone else in his place. And if Monaco is only going to pay a small fraction, then what's the point? Might as well keep him. Well, Ansu Fati ended up agreeing extending his contract with Barcelona from 2027 till 2028 in order to divide his salary over 3 seasons versus 2, reducing his yearly salary. And now Monaco can afford to pay half. So Barcelona will be able to remove a big chunk of Ansu Fati's salary off their books, and then they can use that towards someone else, like, I don't know, maybe Joan Garcia, maybe part of Nico Williams' salary. We'll have to wait and see, but just know that Ansu Fati deal is done. He's joining Monaco. Official announcement will be made during next week. Now, speaking of Monaco, as you might recall, I did mention in a previous video that Monaco have now turned their attention to Marc ter Stegen. They are very interested in signing the German goalkeeper, whether it be on loan, on transfer, in fact, or permanent transfer. In fact, these conversations came up during the Ansu Fati negotiations, where Monaco mentioned it to Barcelona, like, oh yeah, Ansu Fati is great, we want to sign it, but hey, what about ter Stegen? Do you think he'd be interested? Well, Monaco ended up reaching out to ter Stegen, and while ter Stegen has officially declined Monaco's offer for him to join the Ligue 1 club, and while his position remains the same, his position is, hey, I have a contract until 2028. Barcelona have not told me anything. They haven't told me that they want me out or anything. So until they don't tell me anything, I should not be considering any offers. And I think that he is right. I mean, as far as he knows, he has a contract. He is set to remain at Barcelona. Barcelona have told him he's the number one goalkeeper, so why would he consider other offers? And until Barcelona tell him, hey, actually, you're not going to be number one goalkeeper, we actually don't count on you, there's no reason for Ter Stegen to consider other offers, which is the total logical thing, because when you don't want a player, you have to tell him, right? As much as people want to tell me on the comment section that, oh, Barcelona should not tell him anything, it's like people will say anything just to justify their opinion, but if you want to push a player out, if you don't want to count on him, you have to tell him. That's just what every single club on the face of the earth does and has ever done. So no matter how much you want to lie to yourself and say Barcelona don't need to talk to Ter Stegen, that's simply not the case. But anyways, speaking of goalkeepers, ladies and gentlemen, a new club has joined the race for Iñaki Peña. And that club is Real Betis. Now, as you know by now, Joan Garcia will be Barcelona's number one goalkeeper. Tech, or Wojciech Szczesny, who is set to renew his contract pretty soon, will be the second goalkeeper. And the third goalkeeper, Barcelona have decided that it will be Diego Cochen, the 18-year-old, or I think he's 19 now, American-Peruvian goalkeeper. He will be the number 3. And as such, that of course leaves Ter Stegen out of the plans, which Barcelona are set to speak to him pretty soon. And then there is, of course, Iñaki Peña, who Hansi Flick decided not to count on him starting after the winter break, despite him having a pretty good first half of the season. And there was several clubs interested in Iñaki Peña. The one who was interested the most was Celta Vigo, but it looks like they have withdrawn from the race. But now a new club has joined the race for Iñaki Peña, and that is Real Betis, who are reportedly very seriously interested in Iñaki Peña. We'll see whether this is a project that convinces Iñaki, because he has decided to leave the club since Barcelona don't count on him. He's not looking to force his way in or to force his stay at Barcelona. It's just a matter of him finding a project that actually convinces him to join, because of course he knows that at Barcelona he's not going to be getting any minutes. In fact, he already didn't get any minutes during the second half of this season. Now on to the next bit of news, because ladies and gentlemen, Barcelona have completed or have full agreement for the signing of someone we've been talking about for a few weeks now, and that is Roony Bardghji. Roony Bardghji, the 19-year-old right winger who currently plays for FC Copenhagen, someone who became very popular during the Champions League a couple of seasons ago when he helped FC Copenhagen mount a full comeback against Manchester United. He was very close to joining Marseille, and there were other clubs interested in him like Real Madrid, Juventus, etc. But an ACL injury saw him sidelined for an entire year, and all these clubs backed away. However, Barcelona had positive medical reports that stated that Roony Bardghji has fully recovered from that ACL injury, and as such, they decided to meet with him, sending both Deco and Bojan Krkic to meet with the player. And after the player relayed his interest in joining Barcelona, Barcelona began negotiations with FC Copenhagen, and the two have finalized a full agreement for Roony Bardghji to join Barcelona, where Barcelona will pay around 2 million euros fixed with some variables. And in fact, they're saying that Roony Bardghji has already said goodbye to his teammates at FC Copenhagen. In fact, he didn't even attend the title celebration because FC Copenhagen have won their respective leagues. So Roony Bardghji will be joining Barcelona, and it's expected that he will be doing that next week. Now, of course, Barcelona are planning to trigger the clause of Nico Williams July 1st, July 2nd. After that, they will be announcing also the signing of Roony Bardghji, who will be Barca's third signing of this summer. Number 1 being Joan Garcia, then Nico, and then, of course, Roony Bardghji. Now, on to the last bit of news, because Barcelona are currently working on renewing 3 defensive staples. As you know, Barcelona have been working very hard on renewing all the players that they currently have. They want to first secure what they have and then add players from other clubs or from the outside to make the team stronger. And, of course, they have renewed already Gerard Martin until 2028, Pau Cubarsí until 2029, Ronald Araujo until 2031, and now they're working on renewing 3 other defenders, the number 1 being, of course, Jules Koundé, whose contract expires in 2027. Barcelona already in talks with him. Also, Eric Garcia, his contract expires in 2026, and since Flick now counts on him, they also want to extend the contract of Eric. And then finally, Iñigo Martinez, who did extend his contract by one more season until 2026, but Barcelona want to reward him with another season, maybe until 2027. So Barcelona are already in talks with all three defenders, Koundé, Eric, and Inigo, to extend their contracts. Of course, it's not a full priority right now. They're focused on Nico and Roony Bardghji, and then afterwards they'll focus on finalizing these 3 contract renewals to continue securing the talent that we have as Barcelona continue to work on adding even more talent like Nico, Roony, or Juan Garcia. Anyways, that is all the news for this video. I did upload another video a few moments ago. If you haven't seen it yet, make sure to check it out. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, and as always, peace, Barca.